And let me first just say that this was the most elating, infuriating, disappointing, and yet enthralling NFL game that I've seen in several years. The emotional oscillations and fluctuations. I don't think I've ever developed a headache, improved from a headache, and then redeveloped a headache once again in an NFL game in quite some time. Because this might have been the best and the worst game that the Rams have played all tied up in one. Because the Rams did everything they could to win the game, and they also did everything they could to lose the game and gift it to Tom Brady. The start that the Rams had, you couldn't have asked for a better start. On the road, Matthew Stafford's first divisional round playoff game of his career. He comes out firing. He's carving out the defense. The first drive is extremely promising. They get held up in the red zone. They have to settle for a field goal, but ultimately he's hitting OBJ, another big target, playing in his first divisional round playoff game of his career, who was sensational. 6 catches, 69 yards. Cooper Kupp. Stafford hits him on a bomb, like a 60-plus yard, I think it might have been 70-yard pass receiving touchdown to Cooper Kupp. The defense was electric, which I'll touch on. They jump out to a 20-3 lead, and everything is going the Rams' way. And it wasn't necessarily for a poor play from the Bucs. It wasn't just one singular poor play. It was the fact that the Rams were just imposing their will on the Bucs on the road. And yet, it's 20-3. Tom Brady throws a pick at his own 30-yard line, and the Rams are about to deliver the knockout blow, the knockout punch, and the first domino fell. Cam Akers fumbled the ball. And I tweeted, put a pin on this. This might be the first potential play that the Bucs may seize back momentum in this game from that play right there. That's what I thought might have been the first domino to fall. And it was, because it ended up being a lasting theme in the game, was the inability of the Rams to continue to hold on to the football. Again, they did everything they could in the first half prior to that fumble to blow the doors off of the Bucs and to deliver the knockout punch. And then that one fumble gave them a glimmer of life, gave them a glimmer of hope going into the second half. And I said, okay, put a pin on that play. And then in the second half, first 2 possessions for both sides are stalled. Rams score a touchdown. It's 27-3. And they're playing extremely well. But here's the problem. Defense holds Brady to a field goal, fine, 27-6. The one cardinal sin, if you are a road team, whether it's the playoffs, whether it's the regular season, the one cardinal sin is when you commit turnovers as the road team. The fact that the Rams managed to overcome 4 fumbles and still win the football game is miraculous in and of itself. At one point I was tweeting, it's going to be a miracle if the Rams can actually win this game. Most people thought it'd be a miracle if the Bucs could come back. I was saying it was going to be a miracle for the Rams to somehow triumph and overcome all of these turnovers, and yet somehow they managed to do it because Cooper Kupp, who is the most reliable, most trustworthy pair of hands on the Rams, fumbled it at 27-6. And I'm not trying to bash Cooper Kupp here, because when you look at his career, he's been sensational. He's been sensational all year, not only in the game, but this entire season. Fumbles happen. I understand that. But just for some context, it was just the 5th fumble of Cooper Kupp's career. He fumbled it once in 2017, fumbled it 3 times in 2019. So it had been nearly 2 full seasons since he had even fumbled a ball at all. So no need to bash Cooper Kupp here, but that's just the reality of the facts. That play happened, directly results into a touchdown for Brady and the Bucs, and they make it 13-27. And then you have the frenetic sequence in which the Rams immediately following that touchdown, 3 and out, the crowd is beginning to grow and roar, and it's starting, and the atmosphere and the noise starting to cascade down onto the field. And then Von Miller has the strip sack of Brady, and he's still trying to celebrate on the sidelines. And 20 seconds later, there's the center snaps it before Matthew Stafford's ready, and they give it right back to the Bucs at midfield. And there you go. Now all the momentum is seized right back. Rams miss a field goal. Brady airs one out 55 yards to Mike Evans, and it's a 27-20 ball game. And there's 3:30 to go. Bucs have no timeouts. Akers fumbles it again 55 seconds later. And Brady is able, with a short field, to tie the game up, and Leonard Fournette runs it in. And now at this point, it's total pandemonium. It's total bedlam. The crowd is, there's just lunacy going on. People can't believe it. I'm getting flashbacks, and flooding to the top of my mind is that 2016 Super Bowl between Tom Brady and the Patriots versus the Atlanta Falcons, the 28-3 comeback. And I was starting to, at the forefront of my mind, think about how am I going to contextualize being on the wrong end of what I would argue to have been the worst collapse in NFL playoff history. I really thought that this 27-3, the fashion in which the Rams were just kind of upchucking this game and choking away this game, I thought was more egregious than what the Falcons did, because at least the Falcons, their play calls got conservative. The Rams shot themselves in the foot by their repeated turnovers time and time again. That was a big difference. And so you have all of this swirling around in the air, and yet when the rubber needed to meet the road, when it's 27-27, and only a couple people maybe thought in that Raymond Jones Stadium that the Rams were going to manage to regroup. The two guys that did were the two most important pieces of this Rams team, perhaps all year. Stafford and Kupp managed to regroup. And actually, Stafford got sacked. They had to use their final timeout, 34 seconds left. And that's when he's able to hit Cooper Kupp twice, once over the middle. Well, end up starting, the route started over the middle. He found him towards the sideline just by the seam. Great route running by Cooper Kupp. And then the pass, the 44-yard bomb to Kupp to set up the game-winning field goal for Matt Gay. And that's the throw right there. That's the moment right there where you say this is why the Rams traded for Matthew Stafford over Jared Goff. This is why they gave up a couple first-round picks. We saw the 49ers were caught on the wrong end of the stick in this example against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Jimmy G couldn't hit Emmanuel Sanders on a very similar ball. Stafford hit Kupp for 44 yards, and that was all she wrote. And they didn't just kind of soak in their own misery. They didn't sit in their own misery. They said, well, we still have 42 seconds left in the timeout to set up a game-winning field goal for a Pro Bowl kicker. That's what they did. And again, defensively, Aaron Donald backed up his pregame comments about Tom Brady. He was a menace, had a sack, 2 forced fumbles, and that was battling through double and triple teams. He was constantly in the thick of it, constantly applying pressure. They were pressuring Brady all night long, or all, I guess, game long. And all the key acquisitions that the Rams had made, not only in this offseason, but for several offseasons, they all played and came to fruition in a great way yesterday. OBJ, again, had one of his most productive games as a Ram, especially in a big spot, 6 catches, 69 yards. Obviously, Stafford played a fantastic game. The bad snap wasn't his fault, and outside of that, he only threw one bad pass the entire game for the most part. Von Miller had a sack and forced a fumble. He was great. So then you have Cooper Kupp, who is just extremely deft and just has this knack for getting wide open. He just has this uncanny ability to find creases, to find little just pockets of space to get open to, and Stafford's hit him. And again, how the Rams ended up winning this game to overcome all those miscues, that was miraculous to me in and of itself. But at the end of the day, this is why you play football games. This is what NFL football comes down to, is just finding a way to win. It's not going to be pretty. Sometimes it's ugly. Sometimes the outlook seems bleak and dire, yet as long as you find a way to get the job done, overcoming a new challenge, that's all that matters. It's all that matters.